What's going on, guys? So in today's video we are going to be talking about my 2-year ownership with my Silverado. So I cannot believe it's already been 2 years. Huge shout out to everybody that has been along with me during this process of fixing the truck up, aka known as baby squat. And if you're new to this channel, be sure to subscribe. There's plenty more we're going to do. Even though the truck's sitting pretty much perfect in my eyes, there's always going to be more stuff to do. I've got a couple things coming in next week that we're going to do, one of them being under the hood. So for anyone new, it is a 2018 Chevy Silverado Z71 All-Star Edition, 4-wheel drive, and this is baby squat. So I know it's a little controversial, but we've got a 3-inch leveling kit up front, no blocks in the back, so it's got a little bit of a lean to it, and it's known on this channel as baby squat. Almost everybody loves it. You know, occasionally we get the people that don't, and that's perfectly fine. I get it. Not everybody likes this setup. I'm in love with this truck, getting it from brand new, getting it all the way up to this. It's just been great, and this has been my daily driver for the last 2 years, and we just hit 20,000 miles on it today. And I know 20,000 miles isn't a ton for 2 years for some people, but I've had other vehicles you've seen on the channel that I usually drive on the weekends and stuff. So other vehicles have definitely taken some of the mileage off of this thing over the last 2 years. But today we're going to be going over what it's been like, my true real world experience with having this truck, living with it for the last 2 years, daily driving at its current setup, because majority of the powertrain suspension stuff has been on here for a year and a half at least. I guess we should start off by talking about the exterior of the truck. How has it held up over the last 2 years? So unfortunately, GM is known for not having the most durable paint, and that is the case here. So obviously we're leveled up, we got some big mud tires on here, and I don't know how good you'll see it because the truck is dirty, but we've got like a bukus of rock chips, and that's just one of the things you run into, but it's especially prevalent on these GM trucks because the paint, especially Summit White, is just not super durable. And a lot of people have issues with the paint chipping or flaking or whatever, even on the older trucks. I've not had any of that issues with it like flaking, but there's definitely rock chips because these Turos do pick up a ton of rocks. And we do have a little bit of, I guess you'd call peppering, like on the front. Well, that's just, I'll usually go out and touch them up. Like here was a little spot. There was one over here. Where was it? I've touched them up with paint. There's a little guy. So I really don't ride people's bumpers because I know, you know, have a little forethought. I know the paint's not very durable on these trucks. So if you do ride people's bumpers, you get behind dump trucks, stuff like that, you can really jack your paint up. Other than the rock chips, the exterior of this truck has been phenomenal. I mean, it's been out in the sun all day, every day. Nothing's got any weird fading, nothing's leaking. Literally, the exterior of this truck has been great. So now that we touched on the rock chip issue, let's go ahead and do a little recap from the day I brought this thing home, run it all the way up till current day, and then we'll go ahead and jump in the truck, go for a drive, go over some of the things that I love, think could be done better, and just my overall 2-year experience with this thing. So I'm sure you can tell by the title what we have gotten, and I'm freaking stoked. So let's show it. Here we are, 2018 Chevrolet Silverado LT Z71 All-Star Edition. last 2 years. So still, I absolutely love the interior. I think this has got, for an LT trim, this is your lower trim. It's great in here. You got the big screen, touch screen, Apple CarPlay, which I never use because you have to have it plugged up. But I mean, everything in here is really nice. Heated seats, the AC. A lot of these things, you know, should be duh, they all work nice. It's a newer truck, but nothing's wearing out. All my buttons are still absolutely amazing. Nothing's scratched up. Seat covers have been great. You know, I've had a couple people buy them that text or message me on Instagram, or like they say that it's a little too rough for their liking. It is a rough texture, but I don't mind it at all. It does great for me, keeping my seats in good condition with me and with my dog. My one request with this truck when I bought it was the center console. I had to have the center one. Nothing against the split bench. I have one of those in my old F-150. I just really love the center console, and I absolutely love that I got it. It's a little bit, y'all probably can't see it, but I got pretty much a mess right here in the center because it's just kind of got like a little hole there. The cup holders are perfect right here. Center console, perfect. It's long enough to where your arm sits on it very nicely. But the little hole, it's not great. Obviously, you can put a bunch of junk in it. Like I've got just tons of garbage here. All of your electronic connections, 2 USBs, 2 cigarette lighters, and then the normal house plug. It's great. I've done editing in here. You had multiple applications to charge stuff. I think there's a cigarette lighter in the back. There's no rear AC in these, I don't think. I know there's not any in here. I think there's some under the seats, but there's none here. So that is, I guess, a complaint because it's kind of hard to keep your passengers and you at the same temperature. So since we're taking off from a stop, this is a good time to talk about the powertrain. So 5.3 stock transmission. It's got 308 gears with a less than aerodynamic setup suspension wise, and 22x12s and 33s. So normal driving, it goes up to about 2,000 RPMs and shifts, which I love because for whatever reason I just don't like when you have to rev them up. Like, I don't know why. The lower the RPM, the better in my mind. I don't know why. I can't change it. I like seeing the low RPMs. So obviously with a 308 and bigger tires, your RPMs do tend to stay low unless you need to get on it in order to speed up. Like I just said and showed y'all, normal acceleration, about 2,000 RPMs it's shifting, which I'm perfectly happy with. If you need to get out and romp on it, get out in front of someone, obviously the truck will get out of its own way, no problem. So there is some times where the truck's a little bit lazy, a little sluggish feeling, and I typically see it in like 4-lane highways. You come up to a red light, you take off, you got Toyota Camrys all over the place, floorboarding it everywhere, and they take off pretty quick. You know, just people are in a hurry these days. So sometimes in the truck, it's not quite enough for my normal acceleration to keep up with traffic. So you got to get on it a little bit. And sometimes the truck just is making more noise than it is gaining ground. Obviously, you romp on it, no problem getting out of its own way. It's not a fast truck, but it's not slow. Normal acceleration is plenty good for me when I'm just normal driving out here. No one's eating my bumper off, that kind of stuff. But when you're in a clump of traffic, everybody's trying to go, you're either romping on it or you're feeling like you're getting passed by everybody. And obviously this is with 308s and 33s. So the optimum gear ratio from the factory would be the 342s, but this truck was the right deal, the right time, so I had to get it. And I got the 308s. Daily driving, no issues. They're fine with me. The truck will still spin the tires. It'll still get out of its own way. All the trucks at the drag strips that were just like this truck, I've been just as fast or faster than all the ones that I've seen running. So I wouldn't say that the 342s are any faster when you're romping on it. They probably carry the weight better at that like mid-range, lower end that I'm talking about. But the 308s, they've been fine for me. And as long as they don't cause excessive strain on the transmission, like some people say they do, obviously it's a little bit, a little harder on it when it's got less gear pulling a big tire rather than something with more gear, having it easier wound up. The 308s honestly might gain me some fuel economy, so I guess we can talk about that. Typically during the summer with summer grade gas, I average about 17 miles to the gallon. Currently with the winter blend, we're looking at 16.3. So like I said, the 308s might not pull quite as good from a stop, which this is plenty quick for a normal truck, for normal driving. So probably the 308s are better for your cruising and stuff, because obviously they are from the factory because you're going to be at a lower RPM. Plus, then you add in 33s, it's going to drop your RPM even more at that speed because of the bigger tire. So, I think there's nothing to complain about when I'm talking about fuel economy here, like 16, 17 miles per gallon average. So I know a lot of people do say, you know, you buy a truck, who cares about fuel economy and stuff, but that's just an ignorant statement. Obviously, if this thing could get 100 miles to the gallon, I'd love it because that's going to save me money I can spend elsewhere. So y'all have already seen the truck from the outside, and you know we've got a less than aerodynamic setup with a 3-inch leveling kit, no block in the back. And this is kind of like the exhaust. It's a controversial thing. Some people love it, some people hate it. Personally, I love it. I think the truck sits absolutely perfect. But let's talk about the leveling kit, because a 3-inch leveling kit that's a big leveling kit. There's no getting around that. And this doesn't have a diff drop or anything like that. It's just a straight spacer, and I know people, you know, will hate on it because it's like the cheap thing to do. But I wanted to fit the wheels and tires that I had, and at the time, the 3-inch was the way to go. So 3-inch leveling kit, I don't know, we probably got somewhere between 16 to 18,000 miles on it, because I did it pretty soon after I got the truck. And aside from having to go back and tighten up a couple things, it's been pretty flawless. I mean, it hasn't given me any issues. So obviously with a 3-inch leveling kit, it's not something you're going to put it on and then it's going to fall apart. It's going to be something that wears out your components faster over time. So at a 50,000 mile update or a 100,000 mile update, it might have completely killed my whole front end. You know, I don't know. But for the 16 to 18,000 miles that I've put on it with the 3-inch leveling kit, it's been great. Had to go back, tighten up and grease a couple things, but other than that, it's been great. We have some noisy leaf springs just because Chevrolet, it's just the issue with them. I don't know why, but during winter time they have stopped squeaking much. I don't know if it's because the metal's drawn up. I don't know what the reason is, but it's quieted down quite a lot recently. I really don't even hear it anymore. So I don't know, that's great. They do have a fix apparently at the dealership, but I just hate going to dealerships and stuff, and so I just haven't, you know, got them to go replace the bushings or whatever it is. Since we're talking about the dealership, recalls. So, you know, people that have older trucks, this is just based off of like Facebook pages and stuff. You'll see a lot of people with older trucks, they'll hate on new trucks because the Facebook forums are filled with people having issues with all trucks, but a lot of us have new trucks, and people go on the internet to complain. All of us aren't going on the internet and saying, hey, my truck's been freaking great and I have no complaints, I love it to death. Most of the time people get on the internet to complain about stuff, so you see a lot of it. And honestly, I would recommend you not even being on any Facebook pages for any vehicle, because it honestly will like demoralize you, because you just see non-stop issues with people's stuff, and it makes you not enjoy your vehicle as much or worry about it or whatever it is. But you just have to realize it's from people that go to complain on the internet or to ask questions or whatever. So no, all these new trucks are not falling apart. We're not all having tons of issues with them and stuff. There is some recalls. One, they're going to adjust the stiffness of your brake pedal so you don't have to push it as hard to make the truck brake. Obviously, a recall is something they have to do because they'll get sued over stuff that they don't, you know, fix or whatever. And it does suck having to take it to the dealership, and I'm putting it off as well. But, I mean, hey, they're going to fix it. It's going to cost you time and your gasoline to go up there and get it fixed. But, hey, they're fixing it for free. Go get it done and be done with it. So it's not that big a deal. So the truck does ride pretty good. I mean, honestly, I don't have that much experience with it. When it was stock, it was also 2 years ago. I don't really remember how buttery smooth it was from the factory. But with a 3-inch leveling kit, no block in the back, obviously the 3-inch is pretty big. It's stiff. It definitely stiffens it up. You can feel the road. You can kind of, I mean, it's kind of hard. You can feel stuff in the steering wheel, like, you know, the defects in the road and stuff, but it's not harsh. Like, even when you hit a big bump, like, here's a little ridge, you know, just felt a little boom. You know, it's not bad. So I know some people make it out to be some huge thing, and maybe I'm not as picky as some people, but 3-inch leveling kit really, to me, doesn't mess the ride quality up that much. I think it can ride better, of course, with a smaller one or different shocks. These have the Ranchos. They're not known for being super comfy. But as far as a daily driver truck, which this has been for the last 2 years, it's never where I'm like, oh, I hate freaking driving this thing because it's so rough or it hurts my back or anything like that. It really is a nice, comfortable truck. You just kind of feel the road. So one big thing that I don't use this truck for is towing. So if you do plan on towing and stuff, you probably will want to go with the 342s for sure. I've towed one or two things with this thing, and it honestly didn't love it. So it wasn't anything like undrivable, but just, you know, you can feel the weight. You just need you need more gear under this thing if you're going to be towing anything, and that's just plain and simple. If you're going to tow anything, make sure you get a truck with 342s. I personally don't tow anything. Obviously, I've got a freaking squatted truck. I don't tow anything, like ever. Only thing I'll ever pull would be a little boat, and it can pull a little boat, no problem. But if you're going to be pulling any weight, probably definitely want to go with 342s. Get a little baby acceleration right here. Oh, that shift. I love it when it shifts, dude. It's got that nice crack. Oh, it sounds so freaking good. Now that we talked all about that, let's talk about a couple things that kind of get on my nerves or are a little wonky. So, the driver's side mirror, for whatever reason, has some wind noise. Let's talk about a couple things that kind of get on my nerves or are a little wonky. So, the driver's side mirror, for whatever reason, has some wind noise. I guess it kind of makes sense. You got mirrors sticking out to the side, they'd have some wind noise, but typically you don't really have wind noise coming from your mirrors. And on certain days, you know, you're a little more picky than others, and certain things get under your skin. Some days it gets really annoying because I can hear the wind noise coming off of the mirror. I don't know if it's just mine. Comment down below if yours is like that as well. I'm sorry if you didn't notice it until I just said it. Now you're gonna forever notice it. Sorry about that. But for whatever reason, some wind noise coming off the mirror. It gets annoying some days. So staying pretty close to that, we have the front door speaker. Certain songs, certain bass, it gets like a popping noise. And it's not like the speaker's busted or anything. It's just, I believe when the bass hits hard, you know, got the volume up pretty high, certain songs kind of jar the door, because I can put my leg up against it and put some, you know, just some pressure right here on the door panel, and it doesn't do that little popping noise. So I'm guessing just, you know, when that heavy bass hits, it's just fluctuates the door panel enough for something to make that popping noise. I don't really know. Like I said, it's only when the bass is up, turned up loud, not like overly loud, it's fixing to blow up or something. Like, it should totally be able to handle it at this volume, but sometimes it does do that popping noise. I just have to put my leg up against it and it goes away. The passenger side seat belt, it's currently sitting like it does sometimes. It's a little twisted and it will bounce up against the pillar. I don't know if y'all can hear that. That gets really annoying. Next time I'm out of the vehicle, I have to straighten it up so that it's in between the seat and the pillar and not like it is when you have a passenger and they get out and they just kind of sling the seatbelt off. A lot of times it will get kind of hung up like that and start making that noise, and it's just annoying. Another annoying thing that a lot of people like don't understand, or they get really triggered if you mention it, is just the auto up feature on the windows. Like, you only have it on the driver's side door, which people are like, oh, it's for safety reasons, you'll kill your animal, you'll kill your child. And I think that's stupid, because I'll show y'all, this is the safety feature that they have so that that issue doesn't happen. It automatically goes back down when it has any resistance. Oh yeah, it doesn't go back down. So y'all just saw it, that actually squished my arm. It didn't really hurt, but that just goes to show you right there, the automatic up is safer than if you weren't, because that really I mean, if I'd have kept going, it would have squished my arm as much as it could with the strength that it has, or tore up the door, or whatever it might be. So that's my argument. People say that, oh, it's a safety feature, blah blah blah, they'll get sued if that happens. Well, you just saw, if it's on the auto up, it will immediately go back down if it's met with any resistance. However, if your kid or your dog or something's hanging out the back window and I'm just pulling that thing up, I'm rolling this window up, well, guess what? It's choking them. It's going to hurt them. If it was the automatic up, it would bump them and go right back down. So that argument is completely invalid for people, and I know people are like, oh, you really complaining about having to, oh, look at this Dilbert. Yeah, check your mail in the road facing the wrong way. God, people are stupid. Just because you can say, oh, I'm a man and it doesn't bother me to pull the button up for a couple seconds, doesn't mean because we have the technology we shouldn't use it. Stupid. Really, the main problem that's been the problem since the beginning is just the V4 mode. It's super annoying. Pretty much everyone that gets these trucks that care about doing exhaust or just the overall life of the truck, you're gonna have to get you the V4 module or tune the truck, which the reason I haven't done that is just because it's gonna void your warranty. And being as I bought this truck new, didn't really feel like voiding the warranty. If it was used out of warranty or when this does go out of warranty, I'll have no problem with that. So it just sucks that you have to spend $200 right after buying a new truck to deactivate V4 mode. But with the range, it does its job. Like most of you have probably seen, I did have to send it back to get an update because it was outdated and it was throwing a check engine light, had the trunk a little wonky. 2-year ownership experience with a Silverado, and I'm sure at this point you can tell I have thoroughly enjoyed this truck. It has treated me very good, and I've treated it good in return, and hopefully that means many years of happy, stress-free miles with it. This is my first new truck, first Silverado, and you know, I went out on a limb a little bit buying this truck, and it's turned out really good. So definitely, like I said at the beginning of this video, if you are a long-lasting subscriber, I really do appreciate it, and I hope you've enjoyed the journey with this truck and look forward to many more things being done to it. And if this is your first time seeing this channel, or maybe you've seen a couple other of my videos and just never hit subscribe, I would encourage you to hit subscribe and join the channel. So we're going to be doing a lot more things with this truck, as well as we do other things with other trucks, and you know, it's just a good time. All right guys, well, that's pretty much going to finish off this video. Truck's been great, dude. I would 100% recommend anyone that is thinking about getting one, go get it. Like, honestly, make sure it's the right trim, the right gear ratio, the right condition that you want. And I 100% recommend this to any of my friends, family, you guys, everyone. Like, this truck has been amazing. It's my first new truck that I've ever bought, first Chevy Silverado, and I've been a Ford guy at heart for a long time, like, honestly. And the reason I got this truck was because the value, what you could get for the money, was so much better than Ford or Ram. Like over $10,000 cheaper than the competitors at the time that I bought this truck. Right at the end of the year, they had huge discounts. It's just mind-blowing how nice of a truck you can get for this money compared to other manufacturers that are $40,000, $50,000, $60,000, $70,000, $80,000, and this is a below $40,000 truck, brand new. And so there's not really any regrets with me buying this. So honestly, the truck has just been amazing, and I really don't have enough good things to say about it. It's been great. I've had a joy of a time having it for the last 2 years. I have no intentions of getting rid of it. Plan on keeping this truck for a long time. Drive it till the wheels fall off, fix it, put it back on the road. Like, seriously, this truck, it's been amazing.